Ever just, stop and wonder why we're here, why anything is here?
It's one of those huge questions, isn't it? Keeps people thinking.
Absolutely. And today, we're kind of diving deep into that. We're looking at creation, knowledge, our place in it all.
And we're drawing on Parapsychology by Hazrat Khwaja Shamsuddin Azeemi. Some really fascinating perspectives in there.
Right. If you've ever pondered these big ideas, well, we're hoping to give you some solid insights sort of quickly. We're doing the reading for you, basically.
Yeah, distilling it down. Azeemi talks about two main ways of recognizing God, which sort of sets the scene for everything else. One way that's common to all creation.
And another that's more about conscious awareness. We'll get into that.
Definitely.
So first up, the Creator and why create. Azeemi calls God the Lord Creator.
And the idea is that God provided all these resources, this whole universe.
So that he could be recognized. It wasn't accidental. Creation itself was necessary for that recognition because, well, God willed it.
It's quite a concept that the universe exists, in part, as a means for the Creator to be known.
Yeah.
It gives everything a sort of inherent purpose related to that recognition.
And those two approaches you mentioned, let's unpack those. The first one.
It's this inherent knowledge. Like everything that's created just knows deep down that it was created. It's not self-made.
Like a built-in awareness for every single creature.
Exactly. Plants, animals, maybe even rocks in their own way.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental sense of, having an origin outside of oneself, a dependence.
Okay, that's the general one, but the second way...
That sounds more specific to us.
It is. It goes beyond just knowing you were made. It's about understanding why.
The purpose question again.
Right. And the source mentions that Quranic idea that humans and jinn were created specifically for, well, worship and submission, for conscious recognition and relationship.
So for you listening, this implies our lives aren't just random. There's an intended why.
Precisely. It suggests the potential for a deeper connection, a reason for our specific kind of consciousness. And Azeemi says that when we consciously grasp this, our own sort of smallness or dependence.
Our subjection and bondage is the phrase used.
Right. When we grasp that, it actually throws the greatness of the Supreme Being into sharp relief.
Exactly. It's not about feeling insignificant in a negative way. It's about perspective. Understanding our place helps us appreciate the sheer scale of the Creator.
Makes sense. Okay, so that leads to worship. You mentioned humans and jinn created for worship. Azeemi talks about two forms here, too.
He does. There's a general form, which ties back to that inherent knowing we talked about.
The one everything does.
Yeah. The whole universe, humans, jinn, angels, animals, plants, mountains, everything exists in a state of, let's say, compliance with the Creator's laws.
Like physics. Gravity, the way things grow, orbits. That's a form of worship.
In this view, yes. It's the universe operating according to its designed order, an inherent submission to the laws laid down for it.
Okay. But then there's the other kind, the more conscious kind.
Right. And this isn't just passively existing within the laws. It's about actively recognizing the Creator, engaging with that reality.
And maybe even receiving direct guidance. It sounds much more personal.
It is. It's moving from just knowing that there's a Creator to actively, consciously acknowledging and potentially experiencing a connection with the Creator. A relationship.
This sounds like it connects to different levels of knowledge, too.
It does. Azeemi outlines two states of knowledge. First, there's knowing, intellectually, knowing God created us, that we're meant to worship, follow commands, do good, avoid bad.
Standard religious teaching, perhaps? Stuff you learn?
Kind of. It's knowledge about God and requirements. Important, but it might lack direct personal experience or deep observation.
Okay, so what's the second state?
That's where it gets really interesting. It's knowledge that includes practical experience. Observation. It's not just theory. It's lived. It's witnessed.
So it's theory plus experience.
Exactly. And this kind of knowledge, the one substantiated by experience and observation, is what Azeemi calls the entrusted trust.
The entrusted trust. That sounds significant.
It is, because it suggests that true, deep knowledge isn't just blind faith. It's something that can be, in a way, verified through experience.
Yeah.
It elevates belief into lived reality.
And this trust is what gives humanity its unique position.
That's the idea. The source mentions how the Quran describes God's amazing craftsmanship in the universe, the laws governing everything.
Right.
And Azeemi suggests that believing in this, truly believing, actually opens you up to seeing it, to practical observation and understanding.
So belief isn't passive, it's it enables a certain kind of seeing.
Precisely. It's not blind faith closing you off, but faith opening your eyes, or rather your observing sight, as the text calls it. Believing in the unseen gives you the capacity to witness it.
Observing sight. I like that. It implies perception beyond just our normal five senses.
Exactly. And having this observing sight, fueled by the entrusted trust, is what unlocks humanity's potential to, well, interact with the universe in profound ways. Even, as the text puts it, to subjugate it.
Subjugate. That sounds strong. What does that mean in this context? Like controlling it?
Maybe not controlling in a crude sense, but understanding its laws so deeply that you can work with them, harness them for benefit. Think about basic examples.
Okay.
Like the earth providing food systematically. We learned its cycles, its laws, and we cultivate it. That's a kind of subjugation.
Or predicting the sun and moon, using their predictable pattern.
Yes. Harnessing natural forces, wind, water, fire, that's all part of it. Understanding and utilizing the inherent order.
Okay, that makes sense for everyday stuff. But the source gives some more extraordinary examples too, doesn't it?
It does. Examples that really push the boundaries of what we normally think is possible.
Like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, splitting the moon.
Yes. Or stories about Hazrat Umar commanding the Nile River to flow.
Wow. And didn't he also strike barren land with a whip and make it fertile?
According to the source material, yes. These are presented as demonstrations of what's possible when that deep connection, that observing sight, and entrusted trust is fully active. It suggests an ability to influence reality at a fundamental level.
It's almost like aligning with the underlying code of creation itself.
That's a good way to put it. And that story about the astrologer.
Oh yeah, the one who saw the prophet, peace be upon him, and a rock supposedly softened under his foot.
And the astrologer linked it to some incredibly rare cosmic alignment, thousands of years off.
What's the point of that story, do you think?
I think it emphasizes that extraordinary events, things that seem to defy normal laws, might still be connected to deeper, perhaps unknown, universal principles or alignments, accessible through that heightened state of being.
And the text even hints at things like, alchemy? Changing copper to gold?
It touches on understanding the elemental makeup of things so profoundly that, theoretically, transmutation might be possible. Again, it points to a very deep knowledge of the fundamental building blocks.
The creative quantities you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Which brings us to the last big idea, the balance and order of it all.
Right. Azeemi stresses that nothing is random, nothing's an accident.
It all runs on definite laws, fixed quantities. Everything has its measure.
I liked the analogy comparing goats and humans.
Yeah, it's insightful, isn't it? Birth, hunger, thirst, sleep, needing food, fundamentally similar processes.
But obviously a goat isn't a human.
Right, and the difference lies in those creative quantities, the specific mix, the proportions, the divine formula used in their creation.
So that same principle applies to everything. Donkeys, mountains, angels, even paradise.
That's the concept. Everything arises from specific, fixed, foundational quantities. It paints a picture of a universe that is meticulously ordered and balanced right down to its core components. Not chaos, but intricate design.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've covered quite a bit from Azeemi's work.
We have. The core idea seems to be creation existing for the creator to be known.
Then the two ways of knowing. The inherent sense all creation has, and the conscious recognition and worship specific to beings like us.
And the crucial role of experiential knowledge, that entrusted trust, which comes from observation and lived reality, not just theory.
And how that trust elevates humanity, giving us this observing sight.
Which unlocks the potential for profound understanding and interaction with the universe, even in ways that seem extraordinary to us now.
And underlying it all is this deep sense of balance, order, and purpose, built on specific creative quantities.
So the question we leave you with is this. Thinking about that observing sight and this idea of an entrusted trust.
What potential might be lying dormant in you? What possibilities might open up if you started to look at the world and your connection to it through that lens?
Maybe reflect on the order you do see, even in apparent chaos. How might understanding that underlying balance, those creative quantities, shift how you experience your own reality?
Definitely something to think about. A different way to view our place in the cosmos.